Welcome to today's episode. We are going to discuss the audit reports for Nyamira County Executive, and these are the most recent reports from the Office of the Auditor General, which were signed on 30th August 2017. These reports will cover a period of 2015-2016 that is up to 30th June 2016. The total budget for Nyamira County was 4.399 billion, and what was spent was 4.15 billion, and meaning there was a surplus of 244.1 million. From grants, the county government of Nyamira received 23.9 million. Under bankings, a number of issues were identified by the Auditor General, such as under bankings at public health facilities. This means that these public health facilities collected more, but what was banked was less. As follows: Ekerenyo Sub-County Hospital underbanked by 327,513. As indicated on page 2. It's on there on page 2. Nyamira County Referral Hospital underbanked 3.3 million, meaning the amount which was banked, which was Nyamira County Referral Hospital collected 33,503,799, but banked 30 million. 30,202,167 shillings. So there was an underbanking by 3.3 million. Keroka Sub-County Hospital collected 3.2 million, but banked 1.9 million. There was an underbanking of 1.2 million. So those are some of the issues which were raised by the Auditor General. Then there is the issue of unsupported foreign travel, which is on page 2, heading to page 3, unsupported foreign travel. A sum of 2 million was incurred in respect to foreign travel, and subsistence allowance was paid to an officer while attending third forum of local economic development in Turin, Italy, for 8 days from 11th to 18 October 2015. However, there was no evidence of authority of having been obtained from the governor's office for the officer to travel. Further, the officer traveled in business class instead of economy class, contrary to section D13 subsection 2 Roman 2 of Human Resources Policies and Procedures Manual for Public Service, which provides that apart from the chief of staff, the head of public service, the cabinet secretaries, and the secretary to the cabinet, all other state and public officers should use economy class. So that section of the Human Resources Manual was contravened. Another issue which was identified by the Auditor General is on page 5, and on page 5 is payment for incomplete works. An amount 13 million under contract CGN TO 35/2014-2015 for the proposed construction and comprehension of Mosobeti Market at a contract sum of 19 million. The contract was signed on 5th November 2015 and was valid for 6 months from the date of signing. However, upon audit verification conducted on 27th of October 2016, almost 1 year after signing of the contract, construction of the market was not complete as per the agreement. No request for extension of the contract duration had been made by the contractor. However, payments for the works were made contrary against contract terms, whereby the first certificate of 5.7 million was paid before 60% of the work was completed, while the second certificate of 7.3 million was paid before the works were fully completed. In addition, payments were made for some works not completed as follows: a market shed, which was valued by the bill of quantities at 6.6 million, but the county paid 5.6 million for that project which was not completed. But according to the Auditor General's estimations, that work should have cost the county 4.2 million. So the county government of Nyamira paid an excess of 1.3 million, which is estimated overpayment. There are other sections like the civil works, which bill of quantity shows that it was worthy or valued at 2.5 million, but the county decided to pay 2 million, and the work was completely not done. For the civil works, nothing was done. So the county government overpaid 2 million shillings to work not done, which is wrong. There are other issues which were raised by the Auditor General include construction of Manga Stadium, which is on page 7 to page 8 of the Nyamira County Executive Report. Construction of Manga Stadium. Included in the acquisition of assets figure of 1,226 million under construction of buildings, which in addition includes 62 million. So for the construction of Manga Stadium, it cost the taxpayers of Nyamira County 62.3 million. This amount was incurred in respect of construction of a modern stadium in Manga. However, the restricted method of tendering was used to procure the works which tenderers floated to selected pre-qualified contractors and subsequently opened on 19th of May 2014. The contract agreement was entered on 24th March 2015 between the executive and the construction company at a cost of 62.3 million, with the duration of the contract set to be 36 weeks. However, no reasons were provided why the procuring entity decided to use restricted tendering instead of open tendering. And thus, this disregarded Section 29, subsection 3 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2005. Further, no reason for extension of the tender validity period was availed for audit examination to confirm why the contract agreement was entered into on 24th March 2015, and yet the tender evaluation was done 10 months earlier, in contravention of Section 8, subsection 3, paragraph CC of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2005. Further, the unsuccessful bidders were not notified as per the requirement of Section 67, subsection 2 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act of 2005. Consequently, the management breached procurement laws, and further, the propriety of the expenditure of 62.3 million shillings and whether the residents of the county received value for money on this project cannot be confirmed. That is it. That is according to the construction of Manga Stadium. Then there is a construction of Liawaro footbridge in North Mogrango, which is on page 8 of the Nyamira County Executive Audit Report. The most recent, we are talking about the most recent reports from the Auditor General on how our county governments are using taxpayers' money. On page 8 to page 9, there is the construction of Liawaro footbridge in North Mogrango. Included in this a total of, or a sum of 4.2 million in respect of construction of Liawaro footbridge in North Mogrango, utilizing 2014-2015 financial year expenditure. The contract agreement was entered into between executive and Aroko Company on 2nd of July 2015 at a contract sum of 4.259 million, with the engineer's estimate being 4.6. The contract duration was 3 months from the date of signing of the contract agreement. The commencement was 20th of July 2015, and the completion date was 20th of October 2016. The company was on 16th April 2016 paid, but physical verification of the project conducted on 24th October 2016 revealed that the Liawaro footbridge was changed into a box culvert without a fresh tender being floated, thereby distorting terms in the contract agreement. So from this narration from the audit reports from the Office of the Auditor General about Nyamira County Executive, it is clear that if a company, or if you are given a contract, if your company is given a contract to perform some work in a given county, please do not do what is not written in the contract. For example, when Liawaro footbridge was changed into a box culvert, the Auditor General could not find fresh tender documents being floated, which changes the whole thing from a footbridge to a box culvert. That is wrong, that is illegal, and in contravention of tendering or contract agreement. So the management breached Section 70 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2005, which prohibits a person who submits a tender document to undertake responsibilities not set in the tender document. Then another issue which was observed by the Auditor General is on access roads and drainage in Keroka Town, which is on page 10 of the Nyamira County Executive Audit Reports. That's page 10. There is irregular construction and upgrade of car roads in Nyamira Town. We are talking about roads and drainage. Roads and drainage in Nyamira Town. So included in this amount, a total of 7.3 million was paid to a contractor for construction of access roads and drainage systems in Keroka Town. A contract agreement of 11 September 2015 was entered into between executive and Aroko contractor to carry out the works at a contract sum of 7.3 million shillings. The contract was to commence on 4th January 2016 and be completed on 4th April 2016. That's something like 3 months. Physical verification of the project on 25th October 2016, however, revealed that not all the park streets of Keroka Town were done, although the contractor had been paid in full. So the contractor was paid in full, but he did not complete all the works. He did not construct all the access roads in the back streets of Keroka Town. But he was paid. That's very strange. That's paying for incomplete works. He was paid. Instead, the contractor did other works, namely grading and moraming of Likenye Kelieta Keroka Road, a distance of 3.4 kilometers, which was not in the bill of quantities, and thus contravened Section 70 of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act. So, if you have been asked by the contract to construct access roads and drainage for Keroka Town, why in the name of God do you go and do different works? Why do you do grading and moraming of Likenye Kelieta Keroka Road, Likenye Kelieta Keroka Road, which is 3.4 kilometers, instead of doing construction of access roads and drainage of Keroka Town? People of Keroka Town did not receive what they deserved. They deserved better park streets. They deserved better drainage. But the contractor went ahead and did a different contract. Probably they did a fresh contract, but the county government did not avail those documents for verification and for audit. That is the issue. The other issue, which was noticed by the Auditor General, is construction of Nyamira Town Sidewalk. Construction of Nyamira Town Sidewalk, which we are going to look at right now. Construction of Nyamira Town Sidewalk. It is on page 12, the first paragraph. It reads that a total sum of 1.6 million, a total sum of 1.6 million was paid, was made on 20th January 2016 in favor of a construction company, being payment of assessment works carried out. The contract agreement dated 22nd January 2014 was entered into between the executive and a local company to carry out the works at a contract sum of 6.1 million. Fiscal verification of the project on 25th October 2016 revealed that the contractor had done a small portion of the sidewalk along the offices of the County Department of Transport, Roads and Public Works. So if you have been to Nyamira Town, you know the sidewalk along the offices of the County Department of Transport, Roads and Public Works. That sidewalk was made, but that was not all that was supposed to be done. So at a cost of 6.1 million, the contractor just did a small part of this work, and which was a breach of the procurement rules and the propriety of expenditure of 1.6 million incurred on the project, and whether the residents of the county obtained value for money. So the Auditor General is wondering whether the residents of the Nyamira County, where I'm a resident or I come from, received value for their money. The other issue which was raised by the Auditor General was was the fencing of governors' private homes in Matutu and Mosobeti. So there was fencing of governors' private homes in Matutu and Mosobeti. That's page 12 to page 13. So at a cost of 2.9 million, which was paid on 23rd of June 2016 for the fencing of the governors' private homes. The contract agreement was signed on 6th of June 2014 between the executive and the local company to carry out the works at a contract sum of 13.9 million shillings. The executive contravened provisions of section BX of Gazette Notice number 2888 of 28 February 2013, which states that the governor shall be housed by the state and provided with all commensurate home utilities and attendance, subject to review by Salaries and Remuneration Commission from time to time. So what is happening here is that the governor decided to do or to fence his private homes, which is against the law, against the regulations, against the Gazette Notice number 2888 of 28 February 2013, which states clearly that the state will be accommodating the governors, providing them with everything they need until and unless the Salaries and Remuneration Commission revises that part of the notice, Gazette Notice. So other activities carried out involved erection of a razor wire of 980 millimeters diameter at a cost of 448,000 at the official residence of the governor in Nyamira. And then there was installation of CCTV system worth 3.9 million and electric fence worth 619,800 shillings in a leased house whose monthly rent was 50,000.